where does data science belong in the organization? So there are three different ways to organize data science team. The first way is a standalone team. It's easy to understand. Just data science is its own team, parallel to any other teams. This type of organization usually is in smaller company where data science is in its own team. You have engineer, analysts, and a couple of data scientists in its own team, and you might have a chief data scientist or a head of data science that report directly to CEO or some very senior level in the company. So the pro of this type of organization is data science has its own autonomy, and it's well positioned to tackle the questions and also set its own priority. It has its own freedom to decide how you want to develop, how you want to tackle the project, and what's the priority of the project. And it's easy for people inside the science team to share knowledge. And it's also very attractive for talents because they will feel like there's a clear path in a standalone team. But the risk of this type of team is the marginalization, because if you are a standalone team, the downside is you may be further away from the application. For example, if you are doing analysis modeling of user behavior interacting with product, the ideal case is you work closely with product. In a smaller company, it's easier. It's usually not a big issue, but when a company gets bigger, usually different team, they have different barrier across team. So you are under the risk of you working data science team, you can't really be close to product. That's where data science is actually used for. So what you will see more common is when a company gets bigger, they will tend to break the data science team to be in different team or at least closer to the application. So that will bring you to the second part of organization, that's embedded model. Means in this model, you still have a data science team per se, but it's more from a people managing point of view. It's like the person is responsible for performance review, and as hiring manager and coach or technical coach. But you as a data scientist, analyst working in that team, you will actually be farmed out to different team. That's your daily work. So the pros is you are closer to the application. So you actually work in the product team. And it gives a lot of flexibility of the application of data. So data science can work with many different teams and just farm out the talents to different teams. But the concern is it's harder to attract people to this type of organization because the people who give you review is different from the people who actually work with. So these two don't align, that will cause some difficulty. And also, since you work in that team, but you are not really part of that team, that could lead to a situation that data scientist becomes a second-class citizen everywhere because you basically don't really belong anywhere. So the most common, as a company grow, the most common way that data science is organized is as an integrated team, means you fully integrated into different team. For example, the product will have data analysts and data scientists in product team. And marketing will have its own data analysts and data scientists. Sometimes they even have their own like data engineer. It's fully embedded in the team. So the advantage is very obvious because you can actually align the application very well. You actually integrate the talent into the application where data science is used. But the concern is you don't actually have a data organization anymore. So what's the career path of the data scientist in the team, because the data scientist cannot be a marketing manager. What's the career path of the data science team? I think it's more of a concern in the company that data science is not as big as in some other company. If for company like Google or Facebook, it's really data heavy. So even you are individual contributor embedded in a team, you still have a career path from data scientist to senior to staff, probably to principal. So that's not a concern for those mature data oriented company. It's more of a concern on the company in the middle. So you see some data scientists, analysts change company for that reason. Just there's no career path.